When I left, Venezuela was ready to collapse. We would have taken it over. We would have gotten all that oil. It would have been right next door. But now we're buying oil from Venezuela, so we're making a dictator very rich. Can you believe this? Nobody can believe it.
We've gotten used to conflicts, flashpoints, proxy wars. But to kidnap a sitting president, that is not escalation. That is recklessness at the highest level. And when the country that does it is the loudest preacher of international law, the world should be furious. Should be. Some countries reacted exactly as expected. Russia called it an act of armed aggression. China called it a hegemonic violation of sovereignty. Iran called it a flagrant breach of international law. Then came the so-called champions of the rules-based order. The European Union said they call for restraint. Restraint? A sitting president was captured in the middle of the night. Helicopters, airstrikes, a capital city attacked. We are long past restraint. Imagine, just imagine, if Russia had done this to Ukraine. If Russian helicopters had flown into Kiev, arrested Volodymyr Zelensky and his wife, and dragged them back to Moscow, would Europe still be calling for restraint? Or would they be screaming war crime at the top of their lungs? This is the double standard. The United Kingdom distanced itself carefully, vaguely, comfortably. We were not involved. International law must be upheld. That sounds good at a model United Nations conference. This is not MUN. This is the real world. So be specific. Who violated international law? Who bombed a capital? Who kidnapped a president and his wife? It wasn't Venezuela. Among many Venezuelans, there is relief, celebrations, diaspora cheering. But oppression does not justify invasion. Relief does not justify bombs. And hatred for a leader does not excuse kidnapping a head of state. In international law, Maduro was still a president. By capturing him, the United States didn't just remove a man. It tore another hole in what's left of global order. The message is simple. Might makes right. So with what face will the West now lecture China about Taiwan? With what credibility will they condemn Russia in Ukraine? Forget moral high ground. They don't have any ground left to stand on. Now look closer. This goes deeper. The European Union, the United States, and the United Kingdom are playing games. Not new games. The same game their ancestors played. Back then they called it civilizing missions. Today they call it democracy promotion. Back then they sent gunboats. Today they send drones, sanctions, and special operations. Back then they kidnapped kings, exiled leaders, dismantled governments, and installed puppets. Today they kidnap presidents and call it restoring order. This is not hypocrisy by accident. This is consistency by design. The language changes, the uniforms change, the flags change. The behavior does not. International law applies to others. Sovereignty matters only when convenient. Violence is always justified, as long as it comes wrapped in Western vocabulary. Even in the Caribbean, the pattern is clear. From what's emerging, multiple Caribbean countries were used. Maybe pressured, maybe coerced, maybe compliant. When a region is divided, its politicians don't negotiate. They comply. Yes, master, and here's the uncomfortable truth. No one respects weakness. No one respects division. Strength respects strength. Empires do not do favors, they do transactions. And the bill always comes later. If you are celebrating this, understand what you are celebrating. You are cheering a precedent. That your leader can be next. That your capital can be bombed. That your sovereignty is conditional. I don't trust Maduro. I don't trust Washington. I don't trust Brussels or London either. What I trust is history. And history tells us this. When nations are not held accountable, they become chameleons. Changing colors, hiding behind flags, calling domination freedom. The lesson isn't about Venezuela. The lesson is this. If it can be done to them, it can be done to you. The EU, the US, and the UK are not confused. They are not inconsistent. They are experienced, and they are doing exactly what they've always done.